So good evening to all of you students. Today I am going to explain about the big O notation. Big O notation is very important in computer science because on the basis of big O notation we normally calculate the running time complexity of any algorithm. Normally this big O notation is basically this is the concept of mathematics, or this gives the asymptotic behavior of any function. So this video basically covers the basic definition, basic concept of the big O notation. Then we will see the related notations like big omega notation, big theta notation. We will see the basic history of this big O notation and its formal definition. And we will also see the very important concept of this. We will see some list of classes of functions on the basis of which we normally calculate the running time complexity of any algorithm. And we will also see with the help of some examples in how we can calculate the running time complexity of any program. Like a program may contain the simple statements, it may contain the loops, it may contain the nested loops, conditions. So let us see. So first of all we will see its definition. So basically big O notation, this is a mathematical notation. This is a mathematical notation that describes the limiting or asymptotic behavior of a function when the argument tends towards a particular value or infinity. So basically this big O notation, this is a mathematical notation that describes, that gives the asymptotic behavior of any function. It can be used, or it is used to classify the algorithm according to how their running time or space requirement grows as the input size grows. On the basis of this we will see the running time and space complexity of any algorithm. So we can say it is widely used to classify algorithm according to how their running time or space requirement grows as the input size grows. This big O notation is also called Landau's symbol because it was invented by the German theoretician Edmund Landau, and this is used in, it can be used in complexity theory, it can be used in computer science because this is very popular in this complexity theory. Computer science, it is popular. Obviously we will calculate, we will know the running time complexity of any algorithm, so it is very useful in computer science, and it can also be used in mathematics. So we can say this big O notation, this is also pronounced as like big O, so it is also pronounced as big O. So this was invented by the German theoretician Edmund Landau, that's why it is also known as Landau's symbol. Now this letter O, this is capital letter O, this is capital O because this capital O is different from the small o. Small a, the meaning of small o is different. So this letter O, this is capital O, this is capital O. We can write here capital O. This is used because the rate of growth of a function, this is also called its order. That's why we use this capital O. And we use capital O because we normally deal with the burst case complexity. That's why we use capital O. So the description of a function in terms of big O only provides the upper bound. So we can say this big O basically it deals with the upper bound. So it provides the upper bound on the growth rate of a function. So we can say, further we can say this big O describes the this big O describes the running this big O describes the burst case running time complexity. Big O describes the burst case running time complexity of an algorithm. So big O describes the burst case running time complexity of algorithm because it deals with the upper bound on the growth rate of the function. Now we will see formally we can say, or we will see the formal definition. Formally, let f and g, let f and g are two functions, are two functions of n. Let f and g are two functions of n, where n is a natural number, this is a natural number denoting the size or steps of an algorithm, denoting the size or steps of an algorithm. Then we can write like f n equals to big O of Fn equals to big O of Gn. It can be written as big O of Gn. If and only if Fn is less than equals to C into Gn. Fn is less than equals to C into Gn, where C is a constant, and where n is greater than equals to n0, and C is a constant and C is greater than 0, and n0 is greater than equals to 1. So these are the terms that we use. So we can say this Fn equals to big O of Gn if and only if Fn is less than equals to C is a constant, into Gn, where n is greater than equals to n0 and C is a constant, it should be greater than 0, and n0 is greater than equals to 1. So this is the formal definition, we can say. So this is the formal definition. Now as we can see here, this big O describes it is describing the burst case running time complexity. On the other hand, its opposite is, this is burst case. On the other hand, big theta is there, sorry, big omega is there, and this big omega can be used. It provides the lower bound of the growth rate of the function. So it describes the best case running time complexity, this big omega. On the other hand, big theta describes the average case running time complexity. Average case running time complexity, because it deals within some range that lies between the lower and the upper bound. So this is big omega and this is big theta. Now we will see some list of classes of functions that we normally come across whenever we deal with the programs or whenever we study some algorithm. So let us see, because on the basis of those classes, on the basis of those big O notations, we find out the running time complexity of any algorithm. So let us see now. Now we will see some list of classes of functions that normally encounters whenever we deal with the algorithms. So here we will see some list of classes of functions that normally or that are commonly encountered when we analyze various algorithms. So here we have taken a table, and this table is having some attributes like this is serial number, and this is notation, and then name, then rate of growing. So first we will see the first notation is big O of 1. Big O of 1, we are getting this running time complexity. It means this is constant. This is for constant. Then second one is, this is big O of log n or order of log n. So this is logarithmic. And then big O of log n raised to the power c. This is polylogarithmic. This is polylogarithmic. And then the fourth one is order of n. This is linear. And then big O of n log n. This is also logarithmic along with n. And then order of n square or big O of n square. This is quadratic. And then big O of n to the power c, like n cube, n to the power 4, n to the power 5. So this is polynomial. And then big O of c raised to the power n. For example, 2 to the power n, 3 to the power n, etc. So this is exponential. This is exponential. Exponential. And then finally we go of n factorial. This is factorial. So these are the notations, or we can say these are the running time complexities that we normally calculate for any algorithm, and the name are like first is constant, then this is logarithmic, and then polylogarithmic, then linear, then quadratic, then polynomial, then exponential, and then factorial. At the right hand side, this attribute, this is the rate of growing, means the notation at number 1, this is slower growing, we can say, and the notation at 9, this is faster. So this is faster. So we move from top to bottom. It means the algorithm that with which we are dealing at the top, this will be slower growing, and the algorithm at the bottom, like this factorial, this will be faster growing. So this is very important concept, and with the help of which we try to find out the higher order term. If we have given various terms, then we will see. Now we will see the general rules of big O notation, means how we calculate the running time complexity on the basis of very basic two rules. The first rule is select higher order terms as certain terms dominate others. Like we can see, means this is order of 1, this is less than, we can take from here order of, then log n. It means this log n, this big O of log n will dominate this big O of 1 as per the order, and then this is less than big O of log n raised to the power c. This is polylogarithmic, and then big O of n, and then big O of n log n, big O of n log n, and then big O of n square. This is quadratic, and then polynomial, that is to say big O of n cube. Here we are taking some example, like this is n to the power c, so we have taken n cube. This is polynomial, and this will have the higher precedence than order of n square, or we can say this is higher order terms in comparison to this. And then big O of, this is c to the power n, suppose we are taking 2 to the power n, this is exponential. So this exponential will have the higher order than polynomial. So we have to remember, this is very important concept. And then order of n factorial. So here we can say certain terms dominate others. Like we can say this term is dominating this term is dominating this term is dominating this. So on the basis of this, we will select the dominating term. So this is rule 1, and then rule 2. Rule 2 is very simple. After selecting the higher order term, we will ignore the constant. Ignore the constant. That is to say, if suppose the higher order term is 7n square, if suppose the higher order term is, let us say this is n square, it means it will give n square. It will give n square, or we can say this is big O of n square, or we can say Gn is n square. So we will leave the constant term. We may take other examples also, like suppose we are taking 3n. So this will be give n, and so on, etc. Now we will see, we will take an example. So this is any example. Let us say fn is equals to 10 log n plus 5 log n raised to the power 3 plus 7n plus 3n square plus 6n cube. Now we have to find out the its big O notation. So we know that fn is big O of Gn. So out of this we have to find the Gn. Now the Gn will be, now we will see the Gn from here. So we will apply the first rule first. The first rule says that select higher order term. Now we will see one by one. So if we compare these two, so this is log n, this is also log n raised to the power 3. So both will be same. So there is no need to compare. They both have the same order. Then we will compare this with 7n. So 7n, this n is linear. So obviously this will have the higher order in comparison to these previous two. And then we will compare 7n, 3n square. So obviously n square is, this is a quadratic term. This is quadratic, and quadratic we can say from the table as well as from here. This quadratic has the higher order term. This is higher order term in comparison to this n. So we will not also select this. Then we will compare the 3n square with 6n cube. So n cube, this is a polynomial, and polynomial has the higher order than this n square. This is quadratic. So again we will not take this. So ultimately we will select this 6n cube. We will select this 6n cube. So we can say the Gn is 6n cube. Now we will apply this is rule 1. After this, we can say so this is higher order term 6n cube. So after this we will apply the second rule. So second rule says that ignore constant term. So constant is 6. So we will leave constant. So it comes out to be, this is n cube. So Gn will be n cube. So we can say this Fn is equals to big O of n cube. So in this way we can find the running time complexity or big O notation. Now we will see how in programming if we are dealing with a program, so how we can calculate the running time complexity. So let us see. Now we will see how to determine the complexity. So basically, if we want to determine the complexity of any program, then we have to see the piece of code of any program. So a piece of code may have different kind of statement. So the time complexity depends on the type of statement. Like a statement, this may be a simple statement, it may have basic operations, it may have loop, like it may contain for loop, it may contain nested loop, it may contain if then else conditions, it may also contain a function call or function call within the loop. So let us see how we can determine the complexity. So generally we can say, the running time, or we can say the time complexity of a piece of code of a program depends on the kind of statements used. So there may be different type of statements. Now let us see the statements one by one. So this is first sequence of statement. Let us consider like statement 1, statement 2, statement K. Then the total time can be calculated as, we can say the total time can be written as, let us say this is T. So now let us say the individual statement has the running time order of 1, or we can say its complexity is order of 1, and it is containing the basic operation. This is also having order of 1. This is order of 1. Now total time will be order of 1 plus and so on plus order of 1. It is equals to C times order of 1, because it is containing the basic operations. So it will be C. C is a constant term. This is a constant. Therefore we can say T is equals to order of 1. So this is the first category, that is sequence of statement. Now the second one is if then else block. If then else, this sequence of statement, this is also known as constant time complexity. So now in if then else block, say if then condition, then say suppose it is containing block 1 and block 1 is containing sequence of statements. It is containing sequence of statements. Else, then else block, else block 2 sequence of statements and if. Now in this case, either block 1 will execute or block 2 will execute. It will depend on the condition. If the condition of block 1 is true, then it will execute, otherwise block 2 will execute. It means we can say this will be, the running time will be the max of, this will be the max of time taken by block 1 and time taken by block 2. Now the total time we can write, this can be written as, let us say the time complexity of block 1 is, this is order of 1, let us say this is order of 1, it is containing the basic operations and its complexity or running time is, this is order of n. Now the total time will be, it can be given as, this will be order of 1 plus order of n, and as we know this term, this will dominate to this, so total time will be, this will be order of n, and this is linear, this is the linear. So this is the second case. Or the third type of statement may be, it may contain a loop. Let us say, let us consider a for loop for I equals to 0, I less than equals to n, I plus plus. It is containing statements like statement 1, statement 2, and so on, statement k, and each statement is having the complexity like order of 1, order of 1, order of 1. But this loop will run n times, because for I equals to 0, I is less than equals to n. So this will run n times. So we can say the time complexity will be order of 1 plus order of 1 plus and so on, order of 1, and we can say this will be n times. So it can be written as n into order of 1, or this is order of n, this is order of n. So this is also linear, this is also linear. Now fourth category is, let us say this is D. If a statement is containing nested loops. Nested loop suppose it is containing I equals to 0, I less than equals to n, I plus plus, this is one loop and this will run n times. Suppose this is outer loop, inner loop is for j equals to 0, j less than equals to m and j plus plus. This will run n times. So this is outer loop, this is outer loop and this is inner loop, and within the loop this is a block of statements, say. Now in this case the complexity will be, there will be different cases. The first case will be, the complexity will be, so it will have the complexity, this will be of order of n and this will be of order of m. So this is equals to order of n into m. The complexity for this nested loop will be order of n into m. When this inner loop doesn't depend on the outer loop. Here this loop is not depending, inner loop doesn't depend on outer loop. It is not depending on the outer loop. So n and m, they are independent. That's why the complexity is order of n into m. Now the second case is if this loop depends on this outer loop. So in this case this will become n and this loop will also run n times. So here we can say this will be n times and here it will be also n. So in this case the complexity can be given as order of n into n or order of n square. So this is the case when inner loop depends on outer loop. So this is quadratic. This is quadratic. We can say this is quadratic. Now the third case is if there are three loops. If three loops, then we can say this will be order of n cube and it will be a polynomial. It will be a polynomial. So in this way we can determine the complexity of a nested loop. Now the fifth and the last case is if a piece of code is containing function call. In this case, if this is a simple call, then the complexity will be order of n. This is the linear, this is a simple call, and if suppose let us say this is 1 and second is this will be order of n square if the function is being called within a loop. So this is when function is within the loop, within a loop. So we can say if This is the fifth category. If this is a simple function call, then the running time will be order of n or big O of n, and if it is within a loop, then the running time will be order of n square. So these all are the 5 categories or the kind of statements that may be in a piece of code. So in this video we have seen the big O notation in detail, is its definition, its description, various time complexities and their order, like which is dominating to which complexity, and finally we have seen how to determine the complexity of any program. This is very important. So I hope that you would be definitely benefited with this. Thank you.